Hello, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what you can do during lockdown to ensure that your golf game is as sharp as it needs to be by the time we get back onto the golf course. And if you're wondering, have I just put this polo shirt on to do this video? You're damn right I have. Let's get into it. Right, so hello, welcome back. I know that we're in an unfamiliar setting for you guys. Here in the UK, obviously, as you know, if you live in the UK, we're in a lockdown at the minute. It's not great. The main thinking behind this video is that I think everyone's going to be chomping at the bit to get back onto the golf course when it comes to it. Here are some ideas that I'm going to present in like an MOT style. So here's just a couple of things that you could be checking within your golf game. If you're not doing these things, it's probably advised that you start doing them, and hopefully it's going to give you an head start for when we get back onto that golf course. I think it's going to be around March time. First things first, something that a lot of coaches talk about is, have you got the grip in the right part of your hand? So let's go left hand first if you're a right hand golfer. Obviously this is your right hand if you're a left handed golfer. We need to ensure that the grip is in the fingers and not in the palm. As soon as we put it in the palm, we start to see really funky wrist angles, we start to see a lack of control in this club face, and that's the aim of the game really. So what you need to do is make sure we put it in the base of the fingers like that and not in the palm. One easy way of doing this, if we are to set up to the golf ball normally with the club down at the ground, you'll see it's very easy for me to want to lift this handle and get it into that bad place, that palmy part of the hand. So what we have to do instead is start with the golf club 90 degrees in the air. So if we can put it up here and take your grip that way, then it's a lot easier for you to get it in the base of your fingers, wrap the rest of your hand on. When we're looking down at the club with a square club face, we should ideally be seeing, I would say, 2 knuckles, something like that. You may see less knuckles, you may see more knuckles, that's obviously depending on your delivery and what you're working on, but just as a bit of a starting point, I always say around 2 to 3 knuckles is sound for most people. So that's the left hand, in the base of the fingers, visible, couple of knuckles, and then in the right hand, again, similar kind of thoughts and feelings. We don't want to see it in this palm section, we want to see it more in the fingers again. I've got no preference if you are a 10 finger gripper, i.e. where all 10 fingers or 8 fingers and 2 thumbs are on the grip. If you're an overlapper, where your pinky on your right hand overlaps into that crease on your index finger of your left hand, or if you're an interlocker like me. Either of these is fine. The main thing that we've got to get right is the placement. So left hand in the fingers, right hand again also in the fingers, and then wrapped on top just like that. So if you're not doing that with your grip currently, if you've got it up in the palm, especially in this left hand, that's going to cause you problems. Stop doing it, get it in the fingers, hopefully that sorts you out. Okay, next up we're going to look at wrist angles. Now again, this is similar to the grip, so some people might have their own way of gripping the club, presenting a wrist angles. We know it's got to match up. These ideas that I'm going to give you today just kind of puts you around the neutral area of all these ideas. So when it comes to wrist angles, I've got an iPad to help me with this idea today. What we're going to do, grip it in your lead arm, so if you're a right-handed golfer, that's your left arm. If you're a left-handed golfer, that's your right arm. Take your golf grip, like right in the middle of your iPad, swing back as if you were to go to the top of the backswing, and you're going to notice that I've got a pretty flat lead wrist here, and this iPad is touching my forearm. One big common fault that I see in a lot of amateur golfers is that as soon as we are to extend the wrist, as soon as we're to cup it and go that way, that has, I would say for the most part, a negative effect on the golf club. It opens the golf club. It means that a lot of players then have to cut across it in order to get that golf ball somewhere back near the target. If you're wanting to get rid of them slicers, and if you are a slicer currently, I'd advise you that you just have a couple of goes at this feeling to try and flatten out, if not, slightly bow that lead wrist, because that's going to have a positive impact on the club face. It's going to get it squarer, if not a little bit closer, and it's going to help you, if anything, hit it straighter, a bit further, maybe even draw it. So iPad, if you've not got an iPad, you could use a coat hanger, similar ideas, or even like a chopping board, something like that. Basically something that's flat, that gives you a reference as to whether your lead wrist is flat or not, and also make sure that you get that bit touching your lead forearm in that kind of a motion. So if we're cupped extended, that's usually going to mean an open club face, having to slice across it, which is bad. If we get that grip in the right place, if we get them wrist angles nice and neutral, hopefully that's going to help us present a straighter club face and allow us to hit it straighter. Right, next up, some super simple ideas is when it comes to posture. Nothing too complicated, so the way that I would teach a beginner a golf posture is that you start from a bolt upright position, you add a hip hinging, so we keep us back straight, but we hinge like out towards the golf ball. We take a stance which is roughly shoulder width apart, keeping that straight back, hip hinging. We add a little bit of knee flex to ensure that we're nice and balanced. And then from there, we just dangle our arms. So it's super simple. A couple of things to look at if you're able to check your posture at home. Mirrors are perfect. I've got a mirror just there. We don't want to see the pelvis tucked under too much, because as you can see, that looks really unathletic. We don't want to see the pelvis kick too much back to create this S shape in the bottom of our spine, because if you do that, if you practice that feeling, you'll notice that it puts a lot of strain on your lower back. So I think a lot of golfers are guilty of chasing this perfect Justin Rose-like posture where the posterior is pushed right back over here. And it's unnecessary. It puts a lot of strain on the lower back, and it's not good for your longevity as a golfer. So if you just keep it super simple, nice, straight back, no excessive tilting at pelvis this way or this way, a little bit of knee flex. Don't want to see you overly crouched, don't want to see your arms way out here. If you just feel as though that your arms are just dropping, dangling, then you can take your club from there. And like I said, best ways to check this, couple of mirrors. Don't want to see you bolt upright, don't want to see you really leant over. Again, similar to the grip and wrist angle ideas, if you can get yourself in just a nice neutral posture, it's going to stand you in good stead. Okay, and last thing we're going to check in this little indoor lockdown golf MOT is impact. Are you getting into the right kind of impact position? So what I see as a common fault is golfers not enough opening the hips when it comes to impact. They get into a position which is too similar to their address position. We've got to remember that impact is significantly different to what it's like at address. One thing that you can do as a simple drill is just feel as though we're getting into an impact position. So what I've done here is open my hips so that my belt buckle is more faced towards the target. My right foot, I don't know if you can see that, my right foot is turned up and off the floor. I'm onto my toes of my right foot. That's because my pressure has shifted into my left side. So if I were to describe that feeling to you, I feel as though that 90% of my weight is in my lead side, my left side, and it's only the fact that I'm kind of balancing on my toes that there's any pressure on my trail side, my right side at all. Another little bit of a side tip when it comes to this drill as well is when it comes to your irons, to ensure that you're getting that real nice compressed feeling when it's coming into impact, is just lean the handle forward as you're doing this. So we're noticing we've got a little bit of shaft lean, pressure's in my left side, my hips are turned open, my chest's turned open ever so slightly towards that target. We're not making a golf swing where we're trying to recreate our impact position, because a couple of things that can happen from there, as you're seeing with my release, we can get a bit flippy, we can start presenting a lot of loft, we can lose distance, all that kind of stuff that you wouldn't associate with great ball striking. So simulate that impact position. I want you to feel as though you're getting onto your lead side. I want you to feel as though that shaft's leaning forward. And if you can get near that when it comes to getting back out there and hitting some shots, that is a much better impact position for hitting your irons than recreating that address position. So there we go, that's 4 things for you to think about whilst we're in this lockdown and whilst we can't get to the golf course. Leave me a comment in the section below. Are you doing any of these 4 things already, or are you not doing any of these 4 things already? Leave me a comment. Which are you doing? Which aren't you doing? And which of these 4 ideas do you think is going to help you most when it comes to getting back out onto the golf course whenever we're allowed? So that's pretty much it from me today. That's my essential lockdown MOT for your golf game. Until the next time, do all the usuals, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Laters, cheers, stay safe.